I get it when a friend asks whether to drop a few $1,000 on a giant screen for their storefront. The anxiety spikes. They picture the perfect eye-catching backdrop, then wonder if the unit will actually fit the space, stay bright enough under the store lights, and not turn into an expensive paperweight after a few months. That hesitation is real, and the risk of buying the wrong digital signage can feel like a costly gamble. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. So let's walk through what the LG 86BH5C actually brings to the table and whether it lines up with the scenarios you might be juggling. I've been looking at a mix of spec sheets, installation guides, and the handful of user comments you can find on retail sites. And I've also spent a decent amount of time watching how other businesses set up similar ultra-wide panels. The goal here is to help you decide if this 86-inch panel is the right fit before you sign any purchase order. First off, the size and shape are the headline. At 86 inches measured diagonally, the screen is massive, and the 384/0600 resolution gives it an ultra-wide 6.4:1 aspect ratio. That means you get a long, horizontal canvas that's perfect for scrolling news tickers, menu boards that stretch across a kitchen wall, or a continuous loop of product promos in a retail aisle. If you've ever tried to squeeze a traditional 16:9 TV into a hallway and ended up with a lot of wasted blank space, you'll appreciate how this format fills a wall without the need for multiple smaller units. In practice, a coffee shop owner can run a single piece of content that shows the morning specials on the left, a promotional video in the middle, and a loyalty QR code on the right, all in one smooth visual flow. Brightness is another practical factor. The panel is rated at 500 nits, which is decent for indoor environments with typical fluorescent or LED ceiling lighting. In a well-lit lobby or a boutique where the ambient light isn't blasting through windows, the image stays vibrant enough to catch a passerby's eye. However, if you're planning to mount it behind large storefront windows that let in a lot of daylight, you might notice some washout during the brightest hours. It won't disappear, but the contrast won't pop the way a higher-nit commercial-grade signage display would. For most interior applications, 500 nits strikes a good balance between power consumption and visibility. Connectivity is straightforward. The unit comes with standard HDMI inputs, which most media players, laptops, or even a small Windows PC can feed without needing extra adapters. That simplicity is a real strength for businesses that want a plug-and-play solution. You can hook up a compact mini PC running your scheduling software, and the HDMI cable does the rest. There's no need to wrestle with complex IP-based video walls or specialty cables unless you already have a robust networked signage system. Just remember that you'll need a source that can output at the 384/0600 resolution. Most modern laptops and media players can handle it, but older hardware might need an update. Now let's talk about installation realities. An 86-inch LCD panel isn't light. It weighs close to 80 kilograms, around 175 pounds. That means you'll probably need a professional installer and a sturdy VSA-compatible wall mount. The mounting points are spaced to handle the size, but the panel's width also means you have to consider the wall's structural integrity. For a small coffee shop that's renting space, you might run into lease restrictions or need to get permission for a permanent mount. In contrast, a corporate headquarters with a dedicated IT facilities team can treat this as a standard part of their audiovisual rollout. The bottom line: if you're comfortable budgeting for professional installation, the physical setup isn't a surprise. If you're hoping to slap it on a DIY bracket, you might run into trouble. One of the subtle trade-offs of the ultra-wide format is the vertical resolution. At only 600 pixels tall, you don't have a lot of vertical real estate for detailed graphics or text. That's fine for large format banners, simple animations, or split-screen layouts where each section is big enough to read from a distance. But if your content strategy relies heavily on fine print details like a detailed price list or a densely packed schedule, you'll find the vertical space limiting. Designers often compensate by using larger fonts and fewer rows, which can actually improve readability in a signage context, but it does force a rethink of how you structure your content. Who should buy this? If you run a restaurant that wants a single, sleek menu board that stretches across a wall, this is a strong contender. If you manage a retail store looking for an eye-catching loop of promotions that can be updated remotely via a simple HDMI source, The LG 86BH5C offers a clean, modern look without the clutter of multiple screens. It also fits well in corporate lobbies where a company can display a rolling news feed, corporate values, or a welcome message that spans the entire width of an entryway. In